Joining us now from New York City is a proud member of the class of 1979, a Notre Dame trustee and longtime correspondent for NBC News, and my de facto big sister, Ann Thompson.
I knew you went, T-Bone.
To be fair, Ann and my sister were roommates when they were early on at WNDU in South Bend, and Ann spent a lot of time at our house, and so I got lucky. I didn't have just one big sister, I had two, and we're all so proud of you, Ann. And welcome to the fight, as they say.
Thank you, and you lived to tell the tale, Terry.
I did.
That's the most amazing part.
Ann, in your role as a reporter for NBC News, you have witnessed just so many things in this world, changing events firsthand. How does this thing, this pandemic, compare to other news stories that you've covered?
I think, I moved to New York City 3 weeks before September 11th, and I was down at Ground Zero when the towers came down. And that's the most apt comparison, Terry, I think, because in the days following the attacks, New York was very quiet and New York was scared. I can remember I'd hear the rumble of a subway and think, oh my God, is it another tower coming down? Or when a plane would fly over Manhattan, people would stop in the street and look up and wonder, is this plane going to attack another building? But New York came back very quickly. Now New York is quiet and has been quiet for almost 2 months. You would go out on the street and that famous electricity that comes from all the people who are here and the people who come from all over the world, that's missing. I went walking today. I went to the grocery store, and while there are more people out because the weather is getting nicer, people are still leery of each other now. Everybody wears a mask. New Yorkers actually practice social distancing, whether you're walking along the East River or you're going to the grocery store. Because what's happened in the city has been hit very, very hard by this virus. Almost everyone in New York knows someone who's either been sick from COVID-19 or died from COVID-19, and it's hit us all very hard.
And I have somewhat of an insight into this, but how has COVID-19 forced you and your colleagues to change how you go about doing your job?
Well, this is now where I work, my living room. We are not allowed at NBC to go inside buildings. We can't go in a hospital. We do all our work here in New York in masks and gloves and outside. And so we still work, but it's not that up close and personal, that connection that I think makes reporting such a wonderful profession. Doing interviews over Zoom, they're interesting and you do the best you can, but it's not like truly sitting across and watching somebody and recording his or her body language and making your own assessment. It's more difficult and it's quite personally less fulfilling because of that.
And your contribution to your alma mater was recently recognized when you received the Reverend Edward Frederick Soren Award, one of the highest awards you can receive from the University of Notre Dame. How has Notre Dame been so important in your life?
I said, Terry, at the reunion when they gave me that award, that I've always thought that Notre Dame is my superpower. It has truly changed my life. It wasn't that long ago when women didn't have access to this phenomenal education. In fact, we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of coeducation in 2022, and we're all looking forward to that. But it really, I think the people who have had the greatest influence on my life are obviously my parents, Bill and Betty Thompson. And right after that, I would say Father Hesburgh, because he gave me the opportunity for this education to educate my heart and my mind. And it opened up a whole world that I couldn't imagine way back when. And I'm forever grateful.
And finally, as a member of the Board of Trustees, you have a unique view of the challenges ahead for Notre Dame and the students here. What can those of us who love this university dearly do now to help Notre Dame?
What we need to do tonight is to support the Student Emergency Relief Fund. Just think about, we're a big family, and in a big family, all kinds of things have happened. And think about in the news, the unemployment rate in this country is now 14.7%. And that means some of our students' parents have lost their jobs. Some of their students have lost their summer jobs. People who were in difficult economic times have found those situations even greater. So please give to this fund. And it's not about how much you give. You know, a very wise man once told me, he said, Annie, it doesn't really matter how much you give, it's that you give. We can all help each other. And that's what this fund is about. And I can tell you that one of the things I'm most proud of, being an alumna of the school and being a member of the Board of Trustees, is that every discussion I have heard about how Notre Dame is responding to this pandemic is the first thought always is, how do we help our students? How do we help the class of 2020 that isn't going to get the graduation it deserved? How do we help the other classes coming behind them? How do we get Notre Dame, get everybody back together? Because it's that magic of being together that makes Notre Dame so special. And so if you want to help out this emergency relief fund, we have, we're 125 students we have helped with financial aid. We're trying to get over 170 tonight, and we're going to get there, and let's surpass it because the need is only going to grow. Terry?
Ann, thank you very much. And please stay safe out in New York or wherever your travels may take you.
I promise.